So today we'll be philosophizing on 3, 6, 9, distinct, meaningful numbers holding values with distinct, meaningful intrinsic processes and or intrinsic properties, increasing meaningful effectivenesses and or efficiencies, improving distinct existential conditions, engaging one's meaningful concern only to the concerned individual whom thinks on the meanings concerning 3, 6, and 9, distinct from each other with distinct identities, meaning 3 means a distinct minimal value in contrast to 9, the most unique number, engaging the uniqueness within its identity, to engage a vaster range of single denominators within the numerator existing as a component with increased intra-categorical and or inter-categorical variability, allowing for distinct configurations and combinations within properties, allowing for an individual concerned with the quantities in relation to x derived from b, a, d, a, x, cause effect dynamic association, may infer meaningful distinctions within the quantizing of distinct attributes one can give in relation to 9, provided a self-report with 9 distinct responses to communicate one's experience of fullness within meaning in life from moment to moment, in contrast to emptiness. One can quantize 1 to 9, converting it to percentiles through multiples of 10, allowing a score for 1 to 90%, not necessarily 100, where we infer 100 from the 9th category as if it's treated to hold the same properties as 10 with nuance, to be able to communicate distinctions within distinct qualitative attributions, less arbitrary with the quantizing of existing priors, where the center holds the fairest middle within 9, and between the middle exists less extreme scores, as in some sense of full and some sense of empty, lacking the meaningfulness as being full, yet not being quite full or moderately full, distinct in its distinct association within the distribution of intrinsic values with certain meanings, provided the quantification concerning the question concerning one's feeling of fullness, rated on a scale from 1 to 9, providing less arbitrary answers the more certain a response exists. In contrast, the first, fairness, is engaged within the 2 directions within a 3 numeric probability distribution concerning 1, 2, and 3, meaning that 2 holds fair ground as a neutral, and 1 a distant direction from the farthest direction from 1 as 3, where one can code feeling positive in contrast to feeling negative, where if one feels positive to circle 1, and if one feels negative to circle 3, and if one doesn't know how one feels to circle 2. Or if one is undecided or does not want to communicate or is kind of a mix, as in when we're thinking more in terms of complex, meaningful emotions, combinative of different feely-weelies such as being okay. Being okay is not necessarily positive, nor is it always necessarily meaningful, yet it tends to not be as negative. So an attribution of negativity is probably incorrect, yet one might not want to say that they're feeling great with a question that is more arbitrary in nature if it gives 3 responses and it asks you to indicate whether or not you agree with the statement in terms of you feel great, and you only have 3 scores where 1 is most positive and 3 is most negative, and the middle is inferred to be a balance of those 2. Being okay is likely to be most correct in the center, allowing for fairness in an evaluation, with 3 increasing the effectivenesses of binary scores between just 2 units of analysis, yet 2 is meaningful to the 3 as it gives direction to the effects. Similarly, 6 provides meaningfulness not so much within the fairgrounds at the center, more some the multiplication of 2 and 3, increasing the certainty within the probability distribution as we're aggregating variability within the nuance in distinctions, allowing for moderation between 2 and 4. Again, 2 being most meaningful for originating fairness, yet 3 allowances for fairness within the distribution of 3, holding the moderation within evaluations to which there is no fair, true center. A number 7 would be more meaningful to allowance for fairness within subjective evaluations, compared to 3 and 9. 6 allowances for one to increase complexity of 3, yet lacks the nuance of 9, holding more efficient processes improved within 3 and less efficient processes than 9, with meaningfully similar effectivenesses to 9 and less so 3 in terms of holding more meaningful effectivenesses and or efficiencies within its nuance, yet contributes less novelty in terms of providing fairness within the distribution, lacking a meaningful center. 9 of all the values holds the most fair grounds for a meaningful center, with the greatest variability within the vastness of range and response one can attribute, indicated by the granularity of distinct denominations to each numerator within the scale one can create to gauge distinct subjective responses in self-reports. That's all I want to say for this video. Hope you have an awesome one. Keep living those apps slash.